Okay, well, this is it. Welcome to the Wideworld Comics Podcast.
Number one.
Issue number 1. I'm McKenna, and that's Logan. So my goal with this podcast is to spread disinformation, cause a panic, and eat crackers into the microphone. But beyond that, this is mostly sort of a brand synergy thing with the Wideworld Comics website that I've painstakingly constructed. You can go there now, wideworldcomics.com, and you'll see my comic, The Vanishing Horizon. The first issue is now free, the second issue will be free shortly, and the third issue will be for paid subscribers. Only $1.50 a month, so check that out if you want to see more.
Yes, it is worth checking out for sure. It's a riveting comic, and I'm looking forward to the third issue personally.
And he doesn't say that about everything. Trust me, we're brothers, so if we ever get the opportunity to take a stab at the other, we will. Trust me.
But yes, it is a very interesting fantasy sci-fi comic, I guess. You categorize it as. I don't mean to speak for you, but...
No, it's fine. I mean, I already know the ins and outs of it, so it's important what you as a reader think.
True.
I'd hate to tell you if you told me it was a horror romance or something. I mean, I don't think I'm getting my point across.
Yeah, picking up on the wrong things there.
Yeah, so this first podcast episode, I kind of just want to talk about the comic, my plans with the website. So this is the Wide World Comics podcast, but I don't think we'll spend too much talking about the comic or the site. Hopefully that'll eventually just kind of explain itself. So we're mostly going to focus on entertainment, I think, for this sort of podcast. I'll get other guests in and out because you're still in school.
Yes, I am, and I'll be returning there soon. But hopefully we can work out something where we just, record our audios individually or record a Discord call or something.
Yeah, so you'll probably be doing it over Discord, so our voices won't sound your voice won't sound as silky smooth in the future unless you want to get your own mic.
Yeah,
I have no
sound notably more toaster mic,
and I have no idea how how much this one cost because it was a gift.
Yes.
Yeah, from my dear old mama who's asleep downstairs. Yes, we're recording this in my house. If you couldn't hear our voices echoing off the wall, all very professional here.
Yes.
But that's fine. The first episode is always, finding our footing. But yeah, future plans. I was thinking maybe do this once a month. Because I'm going to sync it up to some footage of me drawing the actual comic. It'll be more Vanishing Horizon content, which is important, especially for paid subscribers. But I don't want to reveal the entire comic while I'm drawing it, so I couldn't do it more than once a month, I don't think.
Yeah. But, yeah. I mean, for $1.50 a month, it's worth seeing live... or your work being made live, and also getting access to the comic a month early, which is nice.
Or maybe I'll just stick this all up on YouTube for free. Cross promotion, baby. I took one business class, and now I think I know everything. Usually how it works. So what else is going on? We're in the middle of COVID right now. Not to date the episode, but the date is the first month, January 4th, 2021.
Yeah, you say we're in the middle of it. I'm hoping we're getting towards the end, but
yeah,
I am speaking optimistically, so
you of the far future know you're time traveling right now, and you could blow our little minds with your future knowledge. But
true.
God, I hope you're all still alive and things are better. Because
yes.
it could go either way at this point, to be perfectly honest. We're fine. Obviously, we're in a house. And that's about all you need.
Yeah, no,
you're lucky to have that at this point.
Yeah, hopefully this won't be entertainment for the poor souls in the future apocalypse that will be listening to it in a cardboard box shelter.
Yeah, a radioactive cardboard box shelter. All right.
This is our 1 millionth podcast. I hope that there's something entertaining on it. Oh, it's just these two. No.
Just these two mutants talking again.
Yes.
Well, I still want to talk a little about the comic. I don't care if we stay on topic or not, but I do want to get a summary out of the way. So the Vanishing Horizon is my baby, my magnum opus, the thing that I've spent years working on. I have yet to get it issued complete in under a year. So we'll see how that goes. But the story is of this sort of ragtag crew that are searching for an ancient and powerful treasure. And I know that sounds pretty derivative, but like the overall story, I have a very good idea of what I want to do with it and where to go. But it's mostly an excuse to explore this fictional universe that I've created because I love world building. I usually think of a world before I think of like the story and characters. That's not to say I haven't put a lot of thought and work into these characters and the overall story. I am very happy with what I've come up with, written down, and what we're going to see. But yeah, it's all about the art. It's a lot of my art. I enjoy drawing like the setting shots, the establishing shots of like wide vistas, cool fantasy and sci-fi cities and stuff like that. And this world is divided into 12 zones, and you're going to be hearing the number 12 a lot. Let's see if I can name them all. It's the Collective, which is a gigantic Coruscant-style city that's like the size of a country. Then there's I believe they call it the Elderwood, which is the forest. The Plain, which is grasslands, and all of the first story arc will be set in the plain, so it's going to be all grassland. It's going to be very Western inspired. And then there's the ice caps. I think I call them the ice caps. That's obviously snow and tundra. There's the I forgot what I call it. The jungle. I think I just call it the jungle. There's the I forget if I call it like the mire or the bayou or maybe it's just marshland, but the swamp. Just the swamp. There's the ocean and everything within the ocean. The ocean's large enough to have its own 12 zones, just about, and diverse species. There's an archipelago, which is these strange little islands way out in the ocean. Then there's the sky, because there's a lot of floating islands, and the catacombs. Oh, and the mountains. I think they call the mountains the spine. And then the catacombs are the caves that spread kind of all underneath the world, which is called Wideworld, which is where the name comes from. And they're going to go to each one. There's like a powerful treasure for each zone, and they have to find like keys in each zone, and it's really all just an excuse to explore all these civilizations and cool stuff. And we have 5 main characters to start with. The main character is Lloyd, who actually isn't introduced until the second issue. Lloyd Graham. He's basically a self-insert because he's a moron and he's a failing artist. Not that I think I'm failing, but I am certifiably a moron. Then there's Zeke. Zeke is a scientist. He's kind of like he's a mad genius, but he's a little bit of a Sheldon Cooper type too. Like, he doesn't understand human emotions and the things people go through. It's all very cold and calculating. He's the kind of the driving force behind everything because he wants to find the relics for his former master, who was actually Lloyd's great uncle. And he's the scientist who discovered these relics and like tracked them down partially, and now they are trying to find the relics before this mysterious enemy does. And let's see, then we have Solomon Diamondback Grawl. He's a bounty hunter. A kind of a very washed up bounty hunter, alcoholic, gambling smoker. Then we have Balagon, who's this massive lizard person, who is as strong as he is aggressive. He's kind of Zeke's bodyguard that Zeke hired just for this one mission. And as soon as the money's gone, he's probably gone. And lastly, we have Wei, who I haven't really talked a lot about Wei in the story. She's just like this hot-headed girl with, clearly some kind of past. She knows martial arts. But that's all I'm willing to really reveal at this time. And of course, the titular ship, the Vanishing Horizon, I don't really want to describe what the name means yet either. That'll be part of the story. But it's this flying boat. And if you've seen any of the artwork for Vanishing Horizon, or if you've been on the Wideworld Comics site at all, then you've probably seen the ship. It's well, I like the design of it. I went over it many times until it was something I enjoyed drawing and I enjoyed looking at.
Yeah, I really like the look of it. The color palette and the I mean, it's not steampunk, but it's that sort of, not modern, not like pure sci-fi kind of style, I guess. Like, it's a mixture of like past technology and sci-fi technology, which is really cool. I like that style.
Thank you. That scraping you sound is our dog Irwin. We have 2 dogs in here because they're quieter in the room than they are out of the room.
Yes.
So please forgive them. They're both precious little pieces of shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
So this world is called Wideworld, that the Vanishing Horizon is set in. I know this is your podcast, so maybe you should be the one asking questions, but
no,
I'll prod you.
There's no point of you being here if we're not going to do a back and forth. So please help me fill the airtime.
So your site is called Wideworld Comics, and the world is called Wideworld, but the comic is called Vanishing Horizon, which obviously centers on the Vanishing Horizon and its crew, its ragtag crew. Do you plan on having more comics in this world?
Eventually. That's far, far out there, though. That's like after I finish the Vanishing Horizon, which is like, man, I might die before I finish this thing because I've made it so big and expansive. I mean, 12 zones, and I'm only on the third issue as we're speaking, and there's probably going to be like 12 issues per zone or something, so like over a year per zone.
144 years.
No, it'd be 12 years.
Well, yeah, 12 issues.
144 issues, and yeah, if it takes me a year to finish an issue like it has been,
yeah.
I'll be 144, the ripe old age of 144.
Plus
a brain in a jar.
Wherever you are now.
Yeah, and going back to the ship, you mentioned that it's steampunk inspired. I would say, as far as inspiration, very Treasure Planet.
Yeah, it is very Treasure Planet. Kind of like nautical space nautical. Although we haven't been into space yet. It's all been air travel.
We won't go into space. We won't even explore like the rest of. Well, I'll get into that probably later in the comic. But it doesn't go into space. It's all contained within Wideworld. People also, I posted a picture of the Vanishing Horizon on Reddit, and a lot of people said, "Hey, is that the Weatherlight?" Which I guess is a Magic the Gathering card. I've never played Magic the Gathering, but I've seen the card, and I was like, yeah, it looks a bit of it. But it's happened twice. I'm surprised, like, so many people pointed out the Weatherlight before they pointed out Treasure Planet, because I thought it was a little too close to Treasure Planet. But I love that movie, and I wear my inspirations on my sleeve, so...
Yeah, I think someone else also pointed out it looks kind of like a ship from Atlantis, almost. The cartoon Atlantis.
Yeah, they said something about Atlantis, but they didn't say Atlantis the Lost Empire, but maybe they just forgot the exact name. So Atlantis is very steampunk, so...
I think it's mostly the color palette that reminds me of Atlantis, the kind of like rusty brown and orange.
Yeah, I bet that is where I got the color. Yeah. And anyone who's a fan of the comic One Piece, you'll notice the inspirations from One Piece right away. It's my favorite comic. Obviously, I was inspired to do something in terms of its size, because literally just last weekend, One Piece came out with its 1000th issue. It's been going since I was 4 years old.
Cheers.
I only started watching it like 2008, 2009, probably 2010. So I've only had a decade with it. Some people have had 20 plus years. But yeah, and a whole ragtag crew on a ship, and they're kind of like pirates. But it's also very different in terms of a lot of things.
Yeah, there's 12 times as many pieces.
That's very good, actually.
No. But yeah, I'm certainly looking forward to seeing the world get populated more. I mean, I'm sure it is populated in your mind, but you know, I'm looking forward to seeing it on paper because it is very interesting.
Thank you. I am genuinely glad you appreciate it. I have yet to find someone who's like, "Oh, this is crap," but you know, we're on the internet now, so I expect that to happen any second. And what I want for the future of this or what it might happen to the future of this podcast is once a month is pretty, you know, there's large spaces of nothing in between. So maybe we'll do more like Twitch streams or Let's Plays where we're playing video games. Like I like Let's Plays, but you know, we wouldn't be doing like a speed run or a how-to. I think it would literally just be this podcast, but with a little bit of a visual stimulus through the video game.
Yeah, some background.
I just ripped ass and I apologize.
Oh god, I hope they don't smell it.
Someday we'll have smell-o-vision with our podcast.
I mean, it's a pretty expensive microphone. You could be picking this up.
Oh my god.
Jeez. Okay, enough fart jokes.
Fart jokes are always funny. Don't you know that?
True. Yeah,
it's not even a joke. It's just happening.
We also have a few Minecraft worlds, which are always fun to explore, and I mean, Minecraft is the best game of all time, so I'm sure there are people out there that would enjoy seeing that. And it's always nice to, you know, have some visual over a podcast or under a podcast, I guess.
Yeah, we'll probably, if we do streams, we'll probably definitely stream like from the Minecraft realm.
Yes, we could fill hours of streams and podcasts just with exploring that world and showing it off and then adding on to it.
Yeah, but I do feel in terms of video games, it is only slightly more than just watching a guy draw. So
yeah,
it's just for me, it's just building something block by block because it's an art medium.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, like I said, it would be more of a background type thing in most cases, but
yeah, but I think that's good, and I think that's a lot of the entertainment that's getting consumed these days.
Yes,
is just people doing something in front of a video game or in front of what they're doing usually, which is fine for me. I mean, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy listening to these things, and you know, things always change and evolve, and I certainly hope they'll ride the wave of like everyone's getting their entertainment off of line and off of the internet and subscribing to things on the internet. But who knows? Maybe I'll just get buried because of that. But
I mean, there's lots of people out there that are wanting to consume and watch this stuff. I think that I heard,
and I'm one of them. That's why I'm doing it. You know?
Yeah, I mean, same.
Do what you know.
Yeah. I think I heard that like Twitch viewership doubled in 2020.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of online stuff did double.
Yeah, so not really surprising, but
you wanna let him out?
Yeah. Well,
their dog Erwin wants out. He's always going in and out. He's a brindle treeing dog. For those of you wanting a visual, look up Tennessee brindle treeing dog. We got him from Tennessee, a shelter there. That's where our family usually is, or our extended family usually is. It's like Cleveland and Erwin, Tennessee. And our dog's name is Erwin because that's the town. Have I explained it enough? Are you getting the picture? So, well, I'd like to talk about comics too, since it's a comic-based website, and I do plan on expanding it into other things. Like, I'd love to have like some sort of like web series on there at some point. That'd be cool. And I'm also writing a book, which probably means nothing because that takes forever if it gets finished at all. But just know I'm one of those kind of people.
He's an artist. So if you do ever see him stream video games...
Stream me typing on a computer, typing my novel. Boy, would that be something. Well, you know, there's mukbangs that exist, so I hardly think it'd be the worst thing in the world. But it has. That's something that stupid hasn't happened yet, but I feel like we're on the cusp. So a little background about us. We're brothers. Some would say twins, even though I'm 3 years older and he's 6 inches taller. which is fine. I got that 6 inches somewhere else. My huge ass gut.
Yeah, it sticks out probably more than 6 inches more than me now.
I used to be such a skinny guy.
I still am, luckily.
You've got the twiggishness, but man, I tell you, somewhere in your mid-20s, it might hit you too.
Yeah, there are videos of our Minecraft world, or one of our Minecraft worlds, the survival one, on YouTube already.
Yeah, look up Internet President. He's one of our friends, the only other guy that was like in charge of the realm initially. In fact, it's his realm.
Yeah, it is his
the one
realm.
that we're showing off. You have another one that's not like public or anything, right?
Yeah, I have another realm. It's a creative one. The one we're talking about, the one that there's footage of on the web,
Foots and foots of it.
is a survival world which we've put years of work into. I mean, not as much as, some people, but we're not exactly full-time Minecrafters, so...
Yeah, but like he pointed out, I'm an artist. When I'm not working on my comic and when I'm not writing, I'm consuming these things. So I come at it just as much as of a fan as an artist. And that's really why I decided to start this as like a business, is I'd love to build it up to a place where I can like support other artists, because I feel like, it's a really tough lifestyle choosing to, entertain and create. And I'd love to sort of lift as I climb, or even push up from the bottom if I can, and support more original ideas, because boy, we're short on them. In the industry, at least. I don't think anyone's running out of like creative ideas. I just don't think they sell as well. So big producers aren't going to throw money at anything new and interesting. Yeah. Instead, we get 50 live-action remakes of Disney properties that are, we're definitely in the middle of that era too.
Did you say the D word?
Disney.
Yeah, no, it's if it's not a remake, then it won't sell. That's kind of the place we're at right now in media. And
it's like, I'm fine with remakes. I love seeing something interpreted like a different way, seeing someone else take a crack at it. But there's just something that rubs me the wrong way about the D word remakes. And it's like, well, if you saw The Lion King, it's a shot-for-shot remake with CG animals instead of hand-drawn animals. And it's like so stiff. Like I've seen most of it. I don't think I've seen it all the way through ever, but it's just like, hey, watch these realistic lions walk around, and there's also music playing, and they seem to be lip syncing to something. But other than that, it's just lions walking around, and everything is CG, the animals and the backgrounds. So why does it look so ugly and dull? And like, you could have like massive trees with all these weird roots. You could make fantastic rock structures, make it visually interesting, but they just wanted grounded realism, and boy, is it boring to watch.
Yeah.
And now Nevis is chewing on a Coke bottle.
And crawling under the bed. I mean, yeah, if we wanted like realistic shots of animals in Africa, we could just watch like the Discovery Channel. I mean,
which is more interesting because you get to watch them bang and rip up other animals. This is Disney at its Disneyest.
And it's not even, it's real on the Disney Channel, or the Discovery Channel.
Yeah, rubber bumpers everywhere. You can't show anything controversial.
Yeah.
They advertised the Disney's first LGBTQ character for the movie Onward, and she's in one scene, and she just offhandedly mentions her girlfriend. And
is that really the first one?
Well, there were equally like nothing scenes in other movies, like in the Beauty and the Beast remake. Gaston's little henchman's dancing with another man. Ooh, saucy.
Yeah, that's it. That's the first LGBTQ character right there.
And I saw a meme that was great. It's that scene in SpongeBob where he's in the commercial and he's like, "Look, Gary, there I am," and he's like, you can see his forehead through a window in the background, and it's like, "Look, we're introducing our first LGBTQ character. Look, there it is." Its forehead in the background.
Oh god.
And it's so true. It like, man, they don't want to take any risks at all, even though they would so profit from appealing to that community, I think, because God knows there's thousands of them. But
I mean, it'd be like very like, I mean, it wouldn't even be controversial. It would just be like interesting to have like a queer main character. I think, in today's day and age. Like,
I guess it would be interesting. I don't think gender identity and sexual preference play into a lot of stories unless the stories are specifically about people struggling with those issues, which would be good to see, especially in a children's film. I mean, can you imagine how well that would help people?
yeah, that would definitely
For God's sake.
affect.
But
some
yeah,
children's
that shit don't fly in China or the Middle East,
Yeah.
which is a big market. But you know what else doesn't fly in China? Mulan, which came out about a year ago. And they couldn't put it in China. They couldn't release it in China, even though everything about that movie was built to appeal to the Chinese market. Because there was some controversy about the fact that they filmed near the Uyghur concentration camps. They're pretty much just concentration
Muslim
camps.
concentration camps.
Yeah, there was some controversy that they filmed near them, and that controversy became so hot that Disney's like, okay, we're not showing that movie in our country. And then, like, you know, of course, Chinese movie critics saw the movie, because who doesn't just pirate the movies, and they were like, oh, this is crap. So even when they see it, it's not appealing to these Chinese people, because, you know, they're just people like any other. They can witness a bad movie, even if it's quote unquote about them.
Yeah, like,
I mean,
all American movies appeal to Americans, and half of them end up garbage. So
yes.
like,
Oh man, way more than half.
Yeah, true.
Let's face it.
True. So yeah, I mean, like, if an American company makes a movie to appeal to another country, I imagine the failure rate is probably higher. But who am I to say?
Yeah, and I don't know what the Chinese general consensus on the original Mulan was, the original cartoon, but it's one of my favorite Disney movies.
Yeah, I mean, they probably liked it more than the live-action remake. Maybe not as much more as I do, but...
Yeah. Oh, it's such a shame. And, you know, again, like, you could make the argument, it's like, oh, what, that movie, it doesn't hurt you. You know, it just... Don't see it. Don't pay to see it. There's really nothing wrong with making a bad movie, except I know of projects, cool, interesting projects that they've canceled in favor of more Disney live-action remakes. There was some people might know of, I think it was called Gigantic. It was going to be a retelling of Jack and the Beanstalk, but like instead of like Jack going up and seeing this horrible giant, the giant's a little girl and she's still huge, but he forms like a friendship with her. And that sounds like way more interesting than having a shittier version of The Lion King or The Beauty and the Beast. And it is like a majorly diminished version of it. Because the whole point is the animation, you know? Like, they could have done movies like these in, you know, the 50s and 60s. Beauty and the Beast, at least, you could have had the same exact thing, just a really lavish set and a guy in a beast costume.
But I don't really have too much to talk about in the ways of comics and art.
But you're just as big a fan of like movies and video games, especially video games.
Yes, I am more of a gamer, I guess, than you are. I've been playing quite a few indie games recently, more than I have in the past.
Well, let me talk more about comics just for a bit, and then
Yeah,
we'll transition into video games and movies and stuff. So I'm a big fan of One Piece. That'll always be my favorite comic. But before I was into manga, I read Bone by, I think it's Jeff Smith. I can't see it from here, but yeah, I think it's by Jeff Smith, Bone. Oh man, wonderful little fantasy comic. I'd recommend it to anyone. And you could probably read it if you're like 8. I think that's about when I read it. Oh, and Tintin. We both read Tintin.
Yes, Tintin was a very big... I mean, we were both read Bone, too. I didn't read as much of it as you did, I don't think.
Oh, you should pick it up again. I'll give you the books. But yeah, Tintin.
Yes, The Adventures of Tintin. Very archetypal in our childhoods, I would say.
Yeah, our mother gave us that, or gave me the book, like at the same time she was giving me books to start reading. Like the first time I was reading, and she was like, "Oh, maybe you'll be in the comics. Check out this widely popular Belgian comic." And I was like, "This is pretty good."
Yeah.
And fast forward for 17 years, and it's now my career, or at least what I'm trying to make my career.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk?
Yes, I read not every single issue, because I don't really know how their publishing scheme works, but on the ones that we have, like if you look on the back, there's like 20, 40.
There's a number of them, but there's only two that aren't on the back, actually. And that's the one about the Soviet Union and the one about the Congo. And both of those haven't aged as well.
Yeah, they're on hardback, which we also have. And I imagine there's more, like, issues or spin-offs or something. I don't know if those are just the ones that got, like, colorized.
Yeah, there was one that was a tie-in, or was just the comic version of a cartoon movie. Not the one that Spielberg and Peter Jackson made, but like an older cartoon movie. But yeah, it was an older cartoon movie that we never saw. But that's where that shark sub that we saw earlier, or actually last night, we saw that shark sub in a different video, and we're like, wow, deep dive.
Yes.
Literally.
Was that one from one of the other two? I thought that was one of the ones that was like a...
Oh yeah, no, there is that
cover piece.
I guess it's a thing that comes back.
Yeah.
I haven't read them. I really need to go back and read those.
Yeah, but those like...
They're piece of history, man.
Yeah, the set that's like on the back, the ones that are all like soft cover, at least in our collection, there's like 20 of them or something. I can't remember. But yeah, both of us, I'm sure, but me, I know, read like all of those like 3 times over, like when I was a kid. Maybe not that many times, but I read them through and read them like when we got each one individually. So
I've read Bone twice, but yeah, I haven't finished all the Tintin comics, but I do need to go back and read them. And I'd probably never get through One Piece a second time. Actually, that's not true. I almost did, because like I was originally watching the anime, and then I caught up with the anime, and then I watched it again almost all the way through with you.
Yeah, I think we watched it up until...
The time skip.
Yeah, we watched like right about up till the time skip, and then I watched a little bit past that.
Yeah, but we can rewatch those again. There's a really awesome website I found for anyone who's a fan of it or looking to get into One Piece. It's called One Pace, where they just edit out all the filler and just times where they're dragging the episode because they have to split a 14-page piece of manga into like 4 episodes, so they'll really drag scenes out. But One Pace fixes the pace, and it makes it way closer to the manga, and they replace like older animation with newer animation whenever they do like a remastering. And it's really well done, so shout out to that, and kudos to whoever runs the site. Big fan. When I first was getting into like anime, a lot of the comics I'm a fan of started as anime, and it was Naruto. Like, I missed out on Dragon Ball because I thought it looked stupid, and I thought Naruto looked stupid, and then I watched it, I'm like, this is stupid, I love it.
Yeah.
And then Bleach was excellent to a certain point. I read all the way, I've caught up with the Attack on Titan manga, and I thought that was excellent. I thought that was one of the best things I've ever read. I haven't watched the anime in a while because it's going off the manga, I'm pretty sure. It's pulling a Game of Thrones. I hope it doesn't end up as badly. What else have I read? Not a lot of superhero comics. I find that those are a difficult place to start. Or it's difficult to find a place to start because they've been going for eons, and it's a lot of the same stuff over and over again because they keep like killing the hero and then bringing him back or rebooting the series. So it's really like overwhelming, I think, and maybe not worth the effort. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that statement, and don't let me ever tell you not to like something, but I just don't know if it's for me as much as like the movies are, because there's only 25 movies.
Yeah, no, it's more manageable. I understand where you're coming from. Like, the whole crossover aspect makes it hard to know like the in and outs of every character, whereas like a manga, like you can just read it,
it's contained.
You can sequentially read One Piece like one episode after the other, and you will have the entire story.
Yeah, and
if you read like each edition of like Spider-Man, well, if there's a crossover with like the Fantastic Four, now you're gonna have to go and like get the backstory of the Fantastic Four and whatnot.
Yeah, and I did start. I read man, Marvel had these like compendiums or whatever. The first few issues of their comic, they're hard to find. But I found Spider-Man. I read like the first 10 or so issues of Spider-Man, and literally in his second appearance, he like infiltrates the base of the Fantastic Four just to show off. So the crossovers and the bleeding into other things, that's been a thing since the beginning.
Yeah.
But if anyone can recommend like a series of superhero comics, like one individual series of Batman or Spider-Man or whatever, where it starts, it's good all the way through, and then it finishes, and I can just set it down then and not have to read any more Spider-Man or Batman, something contained, like I said. And it's okay if it crosses over sometime, but as long as it's like contained well within itself, it doesn't like immediately get rebooted into this other story.
Like the Dark Knight series.
Yeah, see, that's the thing, is like people will recommend The Dark Knight, The Dark Knight Returns, which is the most famous Batman, but I think it's just one.
Is that a comic?
I think it's a graphic novel. I think it's one graphic novel. And I don't know if it like is a sequel to like another series of Batman, or if you're just like supposed to have an understanding of where and what Batman was, then you can enjoy the comic. Batman and Superman, as long as you know what they are, maybe you can enjoy it. But other than that, I feel like I gotta go do homework. I gotta find out like everything that led up to this moment, and that could be, the comic series Batman, the comic series of the Dark Knight, and the comic series of the Batman. There's a lot of different versions of it, and I don't know if they're related or if they're independent. It's very complicated, and that's why I like the movies, at least Marvel movies, is because so far they've been very clean and self-contained. DC is a bit of a crapshoot right now.
Yeah, hopefully they'll sort that out.
Yeah, because I loved Shazam.
Oh, did you?
I loved Shazam, and I enjoyed Aquaman.
The first Wonder Woman?
The first Wonder Woman. I haven't seen the second one. I heard it was not great.
Yeah,
and
I've heard bad things.
And I wonder whose fault that was. Seriously, I don't know, because it was Patty Jenkins again, and everyone was like, oh, thank God they got a female director. Hi, Erwin.
Yeah, making a ruckus.
He's a ruckus maker.
Yes, he's good at it.
But yeah, I heard it was not good, even though Patty Jenkins directed it again. I don't know if that was her fault that it didn't turn out well, or if like the producers stepped in, because executives stepping in is usually not a good thing. I don't think, because those are not the people that were hired to be creative, so they're not creative people.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing the like in previews that they brought back that Chris
Pine, yeah, they killed him off.
That was just a bad, like, I just saw that, like, one thing in the previews, and that was enough to me to be like, well, that's, like, bad move. Is, like, story-wise, just...
Because that's what I don't like about the comics, is they're constantly
killing people and bringing them back.
Yeah, because they're like, well, we wrote ourselves into a corner, so now we need to keep making issues. So we're going to bring back those characters. That's Erwin snarling, he's feeling playful.
Talking about comics and writing into corners reminds me of that Star Wars comic we used to read.
I still have the issues of that over there on my shelf.
I think I only ever read like 3 of them. I don't even remember what it was called. But yeah, there's plenty of side stories in the Star Wars universe. That's a perfect example of not really ever being able to get the whole picture. But I mean, like, how much of that is canon and like?
Well, it's none of it's canon anymore.
Exactly.
That was pre-Disney buyout.
Yeah, true.
You silly dog. Oh, he's off. Fell off the bed. I don't know how much of this I'm gonna edit out later, but hold for edit marker.
Dog sounds are fun.
I like dogs. Everybody loves dogs.
Yeah.
Except cat people. But
I don't know. Most cat people like dogs. I think most dog people like cats.
Yeah, you do come across, I think, occasionally cat people that hate dogs or dog people that hate cats, but usually there's a lot of layover.
Yeah, animal lovers.
Mm-hmm.
In general.
If you know what it is to love an animal, you can love any animal, I think. Yeah, I think Shazam was probably the best of the DC. Maybe Wonder Woman, but there's such varying quality, and I think that's what's so interesting about Marvel movies, is they're all along the same lines of quality. Like, they're not... I wouldn't say they're anyone's favorite... Well, there's probably definitely someone's favorite movies, but they're not my favorite movies, but they're all good.
Yeah, they're all entertaining throughout, I would say, which is starkly different than DC, where, like, yeah, Wonder Woman was a joy to watch, and I haven't seen Shazam, but, and then you compare that to, like, Batman v Superman, or, like, the Superman, what is it, Man of Steel.
Yeah.
I was
Man
not a
of
fan of those.
Yeah, I thought the Man of Steel wasn't a great movie, but I thought it really worked. It could have been they definitely wanted it to be the foundation of the DC extended universe, and I think it could have been that movie. But then they let Zack Snyder do this weird thing with Batman v Superman, and it felt way too soon, and it was very strange. And I don't think they should have depended on Zack Snyder to do everything, because it's not like Joss Whedon handled everything for Marvel. He did the Avengers, but that's it. Like, it's like if they let... I know Jon Favreau did a lot of work behind the scenes, but he wasn't in charge of every flagpole movie. And I think that was a mistake on Warner Brothers' part. So, Disney gets yet more powerful.
Yes. The ever-growing conglomerate of media.
That's frightening.
Yes, I think it will.
But I wonder how the TV shows of Marvel are going to be. The ones coming to Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I mean, how can we pay attention to this giant monarchy of a company overtaking everything when we have new content to watch?
Yes, I mean, friggin' WandaVision and the I'm so good at listing things off. The Black Widow series they're gonna make. All the how many Star Wars shows did you say? Like
10. There's 10 now.
God.
And that's I don't even know if that includes The Mandalorian, which I haven't seen yet. I intend to see it because we now have Disney Plus.
Yeah,
we didn't cave. Our uncle caved.
Yes. And then
because. And to anyone out there, just as a general rule, don't buy something like Mulan that's like $30 on top of your on top of your subscription cost. That's a dangerous precedent to set to a start. Like, I know that's the pandemic and movies need money to movie, but like if they start charging $30 to stream a movie on a subscription service you've already paid for, everyone's going to start doing it, pandemic or not. And then, that's so much more that's so much more money to pay for to watch anything. And, I haven't built up any, like, major base yet, but I'm fine leaving my subscription at $1.50. Because, you get a few dozen people, it's $12. Most successful YouTube channels, it's about... maybe 200,000 subscribers. $200,000, man. Yeah. That's more money than I know what to do with.
Every month. Yeah.
I mean, obviously, that's all very optimistic. But, I'm just starting out, and I think it's good to keep optimism, especially during the pandemic.
Yeah, man. Gotta keep up.
But I'll be trying different things. Anyone listening, I'd be happy to get your feedback. If you like this podcast but don't like the comic, that's fine, too. I'm definitely going to try to make this into something people will want to listen to. Like I said, mostly an entertainment topic, mostly talking about art and how to art. And by art, I mean entertainment. I don't know much about like classical paintings, and I don't want to divide my audience. They were talking about DC movies yesterday, and now they're talking about classical art. I can't keep up with these guys. So
you gotta cast a wide net, though. I mean, who knows? Maybe there's someone out there that loves them both.
The Wideworld Comics podcast will just be a catch-all podcast.
Yes.
On this particular podcast, we'll be talking about different species of dust mite. For those of you interested,
catch us next week for our discussions on the voltage across resistors.
Engineer talk. Oh boy, he could go for some of that. He could talk about engineering for a while.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
But seriously, tell us what you think. Be nice.
Yeah.
we're always happy to receive constructive criticism. And I do really appreciate anybody that showed up to watch. Even if you're leaving mean comments, at least you showed up. Thank you.
Yes. And especially if you've listened this long.
Yeah, to us rambling while our dogs rip apart the room in the background.
Yes. If only you could see the damage they've been causing in this 15 minutes. They're
lovely dogs. You'd love them if you met them. Even if you don't love dogs, I think they'd win you over.
Yes.
So one thing I wanted to do, but I wanted to give you or whatever guest more time to do, was top 10 movies or video games.
Yes.
Because I have a list, and I just put together any list. You don't have to think about it too hard, because we can then workshop them here on the podcast.
True.
Let me see. Where did I leave my phone? But you can start talking about video games, because I promised we'd get back to that.
Yes. Yeah, like I was saying before, I've been playing a lot of indie games. I mean, it's always cool to support like a small creator, as I'm doing here, and anyone listening is doing by listening to the podcast.
Like I said, lift as you climb. You don't need to just support small businesses. You just support small artists, because they're essentially the same thing.
Yeah. Go out and pay Patreon, or get Patreon subscriptions and Twitch subscriptions, and subscribe to Wideworld Comics, of course. Don't want to miss out on the next comic.
Of course. Plug.
Yes. Plug master.
Erwin, would you like to plug my comic for me?
That's what he's saying. If you
Good boy.
Speak dog.
Good boy.
Yes.
He likes it. It's just a bunch of gray colors to him, but he likes it.
Yeah, listen to that.
He is a happy dog. He loves my new comforter.
Yeah, a lot of indie games recently. I haven't always played indie games, but I'm play mostly on Xbox, and I have the Xbox Game Pass, which, by the way, is, I don't want to get into that, but that's a whole other can of worms, which, honestly, overall, I really like the Game Pass as, like, a business model.
He's big on Xbox, I'm big on PlayStation, so just like I said, we are brothers, we do not agree on everything.
Yes.
And it's funny that it's worked out that way.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, that's the nice thing about Game Pass, is it has, like, a fair... I mean, everyone's really excited. He
loves Xbox Game Pass.
Yeah, really get into it. Because it has a fair bit of, like, AAA games. Like, they had the newest Gears of War on there. But they also had, like, not No Man's Sky. Outer Worlds.
Astroneer?
Oh. And Astroneer. That's another indie game that I've been really into recently. It's really fun. I don't know if anyone's ever... if any of you have played it, but... Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Astroneer. It's another indie game. But the one I've been playing most recently is called Forager. It's... I would call it like cross between like Stardew Valley and like one of those like... Not to insult the game, but it's kind of a cross between Stardew and like one of those like clicker idler games like on mobile.
I don't know, man. Those are toxic.
They are, but I mean, there's no microtransactions or anything. So you just make crafting stations and upgrade them and whatnot. But one of the little unlockables you can get by like playing the game is a comic of like the maker and like the backstory behind it, and it was actually pretty cool. It's like some person who doesn't speak English as a first language, and they have social anxiety or whatever, but they like dropped out of school to become a game maker, and then he he was lucky enough to win like one game shop or whatever game jam, and was able to like display it at some con or something, and then someone who happened to come by and started playing his game, he was late for a meeting, and then the person that he was meeting with came to find him, and the person that he was meeting with turned out to be a representative of the Humble Bundle, And while I was there, finding the guy that he was looking for, he found him at the Forager booth and was like, "Oh wow, this is like a really cool idea." And so he gave him a publishing deal, and it got published, and it's a fun game. I like it.
And which one is it again?
Forager.
Forager. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's a cool story. When I read that, I was more keen on playing it and enjoying it.
Another way to make this podcast seem old, Cyberpunk just came out, and it is a buggy mess, but I've been getting hours of entertainment out of watching the videos of the bugs.
Yeah.
It's honestly downright hilarious, but man... And I knew that that game was going to be a disappointment just because of how much it was built up. Like, if it didn't cure cancer, it was going to be a disappointment because people had just built it up to this impossible level. And, you know, things so often are not even reaching the things they promise in the video game industry, especially these days.
Yeah. I think the best model these days, I mean, with, like, the fast-paced and, you know, clickbaity world we live in, I think the best way to do it is to, like... I mean, obviously, it's also very hard to keep things secret, but if you just, like, straight up, like, release a game and everyone's like, oh, whoa, like, they hadn't even heard about it before, like, that's the best way to make a splash, and, like, I think, and, like, get people to download it. Like, that's kind of like,
Well, that works well for games like Apex Legends, but... Yeah. You know, Cyberpunk sold... It made its money back in droves because of this, like, advertisement campaign that's lasted so long, and
True.
Just, like, word of mouth hyping it up, despite the fact that it is very clearly an unfinished game.
I mean, yeah, like, CD Projekt Red is, like, a big company, but they're still, like, not Rockstar, you know, they don't have, like, infinite capital. They need to, like, raise money first, but in an ideal world, I think... it would be cool for them to just, like, announce it and then, like, you know, a year later release it without, like, really, like, ever giving a release date. I mean, it's kind of like what Netflix does, like, with a lot of their shows. They'll just, like, drop a season, and I mean, I love that. Like, that's just so cool to see. I mean, it's different, obviously, a video game and, like, a series, a TV series, but, yeah, I do really like that model, I guess.
Yeah, well... I'm definitely, well, you know, different things. Especially with my comic, I'm going to try different ways of releasing it, see which works the best. But the way I'm doing it now is, like, I'll finish a whole issue. Like, most web comics, you release, like, page by page as you finish them. But, you know, I wanted, like, a complete story to be out, even if people had to wait longer. I think it's better for digesting it, you know, like a whole episode of a TV show. And as far as me for video games are, like, I play a lot of video games just to try and find stuff that I like, but I always come back to the same old things, man. I love Pokemon. I love Monster Hunter. Pretty much just those two. Oh, Dark Souls, but that's a very recent thing. I've recently really fallen in love with the FromSoft games. Bloodborne is now my favorite game. It used to be Fallout 3, and it is now Bloodborne. Not that I hate Fallout 3, but I do feel like Bethesda's recent track record salts a bit of the memory.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we're all doing that.
Yeah.
Puberty's a bitch, man, when it lasts for 20 years.
Yeah. Damn.
We're all 35 here, by the way.
All of us.
No, we're... I forget how old I am. We're all somewhere in our mid-20s.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
I forget. Age is but a number, and I'm not good with numbers.
I'm good with numbers, just not keeping track of them.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not good at counting. But I recently started God of War, and that's Dark Souls enough for me to keep playing. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite games since I've played it. It might be I only played it in, like, the past couple of years, so it might be kind of a passing fad. Like, I probably would have considered GTA 5 one of my favorite games, like, in its time, because I sunk plenty of hours into the single player and multiplayer of that.
That's still the best selling, like, video game of all time in terms of, like, I think revenue. Tetris is still, like, no, Tetris is revenue, I think.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's just, you know, so universally loved and accessible. But GTA 5 is, like, the biggest, like, sales of copies, I think.
Really?
It's some record.
I would think it's Minecraft just because of like how many platforms they're on. Well, not just because of that. It's because it's Minecraft.
All right. I've got my list of movies, but since we're starting with video games, I'll start there, and I'll start at number 10, Age of Empires 2.
Of course, classic.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, and that there's a third one, maybe even a fourth one. I'm not sure, but I know Age of Empires 2 was being updated until very recently.
Oh yeah, I bought the HD remake, and then of course they had to go and like a year after I bought that release the definitive edition, which
I hate that. As a business practice, I hate that.
Oh yeah, like it sounds cool or whatever, but like if something is defined, it's like the first time you do it, like the first time you release a game is the definitive edition, like you're defining it. That's what, like when Fallout 3 was first released, that was the definitive edition.
Yeah, and
it wasn't like when they released like the Game of the Year edition. That wasn't the definitive Fallout 3, like it was the Game of the Year edition.
Yeah, I think that's really nickeling and diming people to death. So like, no more Pokemon Emerald versions, no more Persona 5 Royal. Like, just get it right the first time, and then give us like a whole new thing. Like, what was the DLCs for Fallout 3? It was like the one with the giant robot and then the alien one. Like, that's acceptable because it's this whole huge side thing. You're not adding in little additional characters here and there and different move sets. Just really small stuff.
Point Lookout? Was that what it was
Point
called?
Lookout was one. Mothership Theta.
I think it was Zeta.
Mothership Zeta and
the Dawn of, what was it?
Call of Iron.
Steel Iron, something like that. Yeah. Birth of Iron.
Power of Copper. And
they were all good.
Yeah. And
I really liked all those.
I did too, and I think Fallout 4 would have been really boring if not for Nuka World and Far Harbor. Those really add a lot.
They did. I will say that like the add-ons there were very inequivalent to the Fallout 3 ones, because like they also added like the Vault Workshop and like
the workshops are the worst part of Fallout 4. Like they're not fun enough to be in there, and a lot of production time was wasted on them when we could have just had more game.
Yeah, I would have very much rather have like just been a bigger world with like more dungeons and whatnot in it,
and more enemies. I feel like there's just no enemies in Fallout 4. I feel like there's less than there were in Fallout 3.
Have you gotten like high enough level to start seeing like the rainbow dragon or rainbow death claws or whatever they're called?
Yeah, I mean I haven't, but and that's cool. That's cool, but it's just like it is still a death claw.
It's still it's just a variant, and that was one problem with Fallout 4 was just like the leveling. It's like you could get very high level, and when you do, you just start seeing like albino death claws or whatnot. Like, I think it would have been better if
everything's a death claw.
Yeah, I think it would have been better if
rainbow death claw, albino death claw, Yao Guai death claw.
Like, they should have just kind of had it like level up like with you, kind of like how Borderlands does. I mean, that's like based on location, but yeah, I feel like the scaling didn't really work in Fallout 4. I mean, I really like Fallout 4, and I think the workshops are cool, but I agree that they are way too big of a part of a game. Like, there should have been you should have like been able to do it at Sanctuary and nowhere else, and like it not become
there's a lot of
itself. I know
to keep track of, and you do have to keep track of them because they keep getting attacked by things.
Yes, yeah. If you actually try and make a base at every single one, it just becomes chaos.
And I don't want to just drop everything I'm doing in the story to go rescue a base. And some of those like assaults are hard. Like, there'll just be a bunch of people in power armor, and I'm like, I'm not suited to this. I'm not high enough level.
Yeah, like screw this settlement.
And NPCs will die. Like, I've had named NPCs die. I didn't even know that was a thing that could happen without you.
Oh yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
Oh, that's so annoying. I've had to put that Fallout 4 down a lot. Eventually, I always pick it back up, but there are times where the glitches or the workshop grind just gets to me too much.
Yeah, I think that
Fallout 4 is not in my top 10. But Fallout 3 is number 2. Number 9 is Skyrim.
Really, 9?
Yeah. It's also kind of glitchy. And,
I guess, yeah, you never really were into Skyrim as much as, like...
I mean, it's in my top 10.
Yeah, true.
Number 9's a good spot, but it is buggy, and, like, the quests don't always work right. You can tell when the game's trying to, like, do something, and you're like, well, that didn't happen right for me.
Yeah.
But it's still an achievement, and, man, I think it's just one of the major tentpoles of gaming.
Oh, yeah, no, it's... Talk about, like, a landmark game. I mean, it's like... It's just like a fantasy sandbox, like, when you get down to it, you know? It's just a place for you to build your character and, like, make different decisions, or make every single decision in the game if you want to.
Yeah.
Which is what I've always done. Just...
Released the same year as Dark Souls.
Wow.
So, and I don't think Dark Souls became a tentpole, and it is a tentpole, until much later, when it kind of got this, like, cult following.
Yeah, which...
And it was after Demon's Souls, which, like, was much more revolutionary since it was the first, but it was a PS3 exclusive, so no one played it. And let's see, number 8 is Minecraft. And like I said earlier, it's more of an art medium, at least to me. I don't have as much an interest of, like, leveling up, getting armor, and fighting the Ender Dragon. That's all fun, but it's a very quick experience if you do that. It's so much more to actually, like, build, like, Legos.
Yeah, no, that's what the game is really about, is building. I think, like, the whole beating the game aspect was, you know, kind of put in there, like, a while ago, just as, like, you know, a way to say, yeah, you beat the game. And I like it. It's cool that you can do that, and the whole Ender Dragon and End is really cool. But yeah, it really is just kind of a game of building, crafting.
Which is all it needed to be. It's one of those that shows just how one simple idea can sometimes be the best thing, because you can take it so far.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, personally I think Minecraft might be my number one spot, just of how much time I've put into that game.
Well, like I said, it's more of an art medium, so I have, like, actual games higher.
True. Well, for me, fucking jerk, no.
He said the fuck word.
Oh, no. Yeah, I don't know, I've put so much time into it, and I've had so much fun with, like, various mods. That's probably something that you haven't done as much.
Yeah, and I was gonna say Skyrim. That's probably another reason it survived so long. Is it's like blank clay that people have molded into just about everything.
Exactly. That's like what Minecraft is. I mean, like, you know, you don't even have to buy a Pokemon game to play Pokemon.
We need to do that. We need to get Lucas and, like, make a Pokemon or Minecraft Mon server, because that just sounds like fun.
Yeah, it does. And
it's
like,
the only
like, you can play Pokemon in Minecraft.
And like together, it's not like a separate, because as much as, you know, you can battle each other in Pokemon, you're still venturing the world alone.
Yeah.
But not in Minecraft.
Yeah, in Minecraft you can do it together. It's not real Pokemon, but it's still Pokemon.
In Minecraft, you can do anything.
It's true. I mean, you can fucking play, what are they called? Adventure worlds.
And you can cheat death.
Yeah, it's true.
You can download yourself into Minecraft.
there's like so many mods out there. You could play fucking Call of Duty with, like, mods. And
you said call.
Huh?
You said call.
I also said of.
That's another tentpole, was Call of Duty Modern Warfare. That's pretty much the first big AAA game that we played, and a big multiplayer game that we played. Like, we had all our friends over playing Call of Duty maps.
Yeah,
going into 6 in the morning.
Was archetypal. I think I don't have, like, an actual list in front of me like you do.
Because I'm always listing things like a psycho.
You and your lists. But
more organized.
I think the Call of Duty that makes my list is actually Modern Warfare 3.
Nice. I didn't. Yeah, because I didn't think much of it at the time.
It's a dark horse in the Call of Duty series. I think that, like, some people see it as, like, scuffing the Modern Warfare series, but I think that they actually did a decent job of perfecting it. And unlike Modern Warfare 2, they actually, like, updated it more. They added, like, content, or, like, creator or user-made modes. Like, they had infected, and they had like drop zone, and then they added chaos mode or something, which was like zombies almost, but you had to like keep killing people to like keep the timer going, and that was a lot of fun. And like I have a lot of memories of like playing like 2v2. They had 2v2 game modes and 3v3 game modes, and they all had their own maps for those game modes.
Oh, that's impressive.
Yeah, which was really cool, and I really liked the game modes. It felt way more like, I don't know, tactical, I guess, when you're just there with like one or two other people. And yeah, and like, I mean, trust me, I have plenty of memories, if not more memories, of playing Modern Warfare 2 maps, but Modern Warfare 3 just, I think, checked more boxes for me. It might not be as classic as Modern Warfare 2, you know, there's no rust.
Like, it's almost the exact same thing, but slightly more.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and like the feel of it isn't quite as nice. I mean, the feel of Modern Warfare 2 is just like the ultimate and crisp. But like, I think Modern Warfare 3 is the one that like if I were to give a game to someone to play first, the first Call of Duty, I'd probably give them that. You know, like like Modern Warfare 2 might just be better to some people because it came first. But I think if Modern Warfare 3 was the first one you played, then it would be objectively better. I'm getting way too into Modern Warfare 3, sorry.
No, it's fine. I like to see the passion. Yeah. I mean, that proves exactly why it's your favorite.
Yeah.
Number 7 for me is, what was it? Oh, Star Wars Battlefront 2. Not the new one. Not the one that came out in, like, 2018, 2019. I'm talking way back pre-Disney buyout Star Wars Battlefront 2, where you had, like, every planet from the movie plus a few, and like every vehicle from the movie,
like
and
2 maps on each planet.
There was absurdly more content, and even in the final product of the new Star Wars Battlefront 2, which just it's missing so a lot, like a lot of stuff from the prequels, but there's even stuff that's not in the from the original trilogy, and they have heroes. And they, you know, each hero belongs to, like, you know, the Separatists, the Republic, the Rebels, the Empire.
Yeah, all four factions, not just 2 of them.
Well, 6 now, because you can have the First Order and
the
Resistance. And I could rant about Star Wars here, but we'll stick to video games.
Talk about
they have one of the Boba Fett fights for the Empire and the Separatists. And I don't know why they did that. They could have just put Jango Fett in. He's like barely different.
Wait, in the new one?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Yeah, in the old one they just made Jango or made Boba.
Yeah, all you have to do is clean up his model a little bit. You don't even have to change his weapons. They're practically all the same. But they didn't do that. It's just Boba Fett again, and it doesn't make any sense why he's fighting for the Separatists.
Yeah, like it's such a small detail, which like
they have General Grievous and like Darth Maul. It's like you put in the work for these. It's just like it was a strange choice.
Yeah, I mean it's a small thing to complain about, but it's also a very, very, very small thing to like fix and just.
Yeah, I don't know.
It would be a non-issue if they had.
So much of it just seemed lazy, and it was the start of the loot box controversy.
Oh, yeah.
So that sparked off that whole debate, and you know, right off the bat, you got to remove so many points for that, even if they're not in the game anymore.
Yeah.
It's still, you know, it's so predatory and indicative of where the industry is right now.
Yeah.
Another reason you really got to support indie developers, because most of them, until they're bought out, aren't just gunning for your wallet that way.
It's just forced gambling, and most of it is appealing towards minors. So like,
and they know,
purely corrupt. Yeah. I mean, like, might as well just start putting cigarette ads in your fucking games.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure they'll find some way.
God, yeah. But yeah, Battlefield 2.
Battlefield
the PS2 version. Fronts,
yeah. On PlayStation 2, we played that for hours, just you and I.
Oh yeah, we. I think they had it in the second one, but I think it was the second one. We would just go like all maps, all modes.
Yeah, and we'd go through the entire list. Maybe. I'm sure we never made it.
I don't know if we ever made it to the end.
Yeah, we'd like start from the end and work backwards sometimes.
Yeah, but like, God.
It was just so easy. Like, all you did was pick the map, pick the mode, pick your class.
Yeah, and it was just
you didn't have to customize anything either. It was just, you know, your bazooka guy, your sniper guy, your regular guy, your pilot guy. And again, all the vehicles were available. In the new one, Walker Assault, it's like on a rail. Like you can't even drive the AT-ATs, which you could in a game that's like a decade older.
Yeah, more than I think.
Oh my gosh!
But
I mean, I'm sure I'm missing something. Like, oh, it's so much more harder to do that now because we have to keep the graphics right, and you know, it would crash the game if this huge thing was moving around on its own. But
I haven't played like the new one, but I mean, yeah, there's just such an easy and good formula that the original 1 and 2 that were on the PS2 had. I mean, just like outposts, teams, like a AI playing like as other soldiers, classes, very simple classes, no customization. I mean, like, and I don't know, like, despite playing like so many matches in a row, it was always like fun to try and win the way you're winning, you know.
There was enough diversity just in the maps and the fact that you could pick between like 8 different classes that it did stir things up enough.
Like, oh, I lost the last one and I spend most of my time playing as an engineer, like.
And the maps were a lot bigger than the new ones.
Yes.
They like, man, the new ones look small, and because there's not as much vehicles. You know, so instead of this full out assault, it's way more Call of Duty-esque, where there's no vehicles, it's just you running around a small map.
Do you remember, I think it was on the second one, the like Tatooine map, not the Tatooine, or not Mos Eisley.
It was Mos Eisley and the Dune Sea were the two. That was on the
Dune
first
Sea.
one.
Oh yeah, Dune Sea. I don't know why Dune Sea was like I didn't play it much, but like.
But it left an impression.
It left an impression.
Yeah,
for sure.
I love stuff like that. So, like, this isn't even like the best of it, but boy, do I remember it, and it's like in my dreams sometimes.
Yeah, like honestly, I feel like I have dreams about like capturing a certain checkpoint, like on Dune Sea.
Yeah,
and then like trying to race around in like the little hovercraft to try and capture like the enemy. Oh god. Yeah. Oh, they had like TIE fighters that you could fly around too. On that map. That's right. I would always crash those things. Oh my god.
Yeah, they're hard to fly, just like the jets in modern Battlefield.
I don't think that you're gonna have people like being this giddy, like recalling things from like the current battle.
Yeah, but who knows? Nostalgia's pretty powerful.
True.
All right, so number 6 is Zoo Tycoon. Wasted a lot of time on that game as a child. That left an impression because I loved animals, and you could eventually get like dinosaurs in there, and you could just release all the animals to eat the customers.
Yeah, as far as like a RTS, I mean, it's not even really an RTS, but the whole like.
But it's the same mechanics.
Yeah, like the management. I think I preferred that.
It's more of a Sims. I don't know if that's its genre.
Yeah, I kind of liked that more than Age of Empires, in the sense that like.
Well, I do too. That's why Age of Empires is 10.
I mean, like, I think I have more memories with Age of Empires, and it was more fun, but it was also just kind of like stressful, you know, like.
Well, yeah,
you could like spend hours just like building your like city, and then like
a wave of enemies.
Yeah, they just like send in like 3 trebuchets, and it's like, well, I'm fucked.
Trebuchets, the superior siege equipment.
God, and yeah, but like Zoo Tycoon, you could just keep building your zoo if you want, or you could fucking just.
Yeah, you get into like a farming. Sort of steady flow of things, but yeah, definitely good to zen out. I would always have like a battle royale where like I'd put all all different creatures into one enormous cage.
Yes,
that like encompassed the entire map.
We'd always fucking like just experiment and mess around.
Well, that's the indicative of a good game, is you can make your own fun.
Yeah, I mean, like you could fucking like put a cage around like your zoo goers. And then you could break down the gate between there and animals and just like have them enclosed, but still have like new customers coming in to watch like old customers get mauled. Like,
yeah, I love that game. And then number 5 is Dark Souls. Bloodborne's my number 1, but the other FromSoft games are really great too. And I struggle between this one and Dark Souls 3, and I know a lot of Souls fans are gonna hate me for saying that like 3 might be better, but it does feel a bit like Modern Warfare 3 for me. Like it's the exact same thing, but a little bit more. Dark Souls 3 does lose points because at some point they straight up bring back a map from Dark Souls 1, so it's a little too much nostalgia bait for me.
Which is why you got
which is why I picked the first one instead,
yeah.
because it is this huge tentpole of a thing. And man, everyone says it's like Dark Souls to describe any game. They don't even say a video game's hard anymore. They say it's like Dark Souls.
Yeah. Honestly.
And man, that unpacking that could be a whole podcast within itself.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, like, not to interrupt you, but, like, there's also a whole category of games that are just like Minecraft, you know?
oh
like,
yeah, well, we mentioned Astroneer.
Yeah, like, that's like Minecraft. I mean, even fucking, like, Stardew Valley is like Minecraft in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very much so. And I like Bloodborne better because it's a more unique setting, and just, man, it's such a tight experience. Dark Souls actually seems to take a bit of a dive into quality towards the end, because you could tell they ran out of budget. So at one point you're in this like lava-filled underworld, and they just kind of copy-pasted this dragon butt. It's literally a dragon's butt, because earlier in the game you encountered this like dead dragon, and surprise, it's not actually dead, and it like rips out off the lower half of its body as it's crawling towards you. And then they took that remaining butt and just made it its own enemy and planted it all around this lava place, and it's just like, yeah, you can tell they just didn't want to make a new model. And
so wait, there's only like one top half, but like multiple bottom halves.
Exactly. It's ridiculous and so obviously a workaround.
Jeez,
that's why it's not as good as Bloodborne, which you cannot find a place where they didn't go all out for that game.
Did you wait? Is Ghost of Tsushima also from Soft?
No, but Sekiro,
Sekiro, that's what I
Yeah, I know.
That's what I meant, sorry.
Three of the games of that exact type came out that year. It was Nioh 2, Ghost of Tsushima, and Sekiro. And I do think Sekiro is the best of all of those, and it's easily in my top 20. But I am tired of that aesthetic. The Japanese, feudal Japanese aesthetic. And I know a lot of other people like it, and that's fine. It's completely a personal choice.
Yeah.
But again, 3 games came out the same year using that exact same like time period and mythology. So it's just been done too much. And man,
they also had like a bunch of movies around the same time too. Like there was that like 12 Samurai or whatever.
It was 7 Samurai?
Yeah, seventh.
Which was a remake of a very old Kurosawa film.
Yeah. I think there was like another one too that was around the same time.
Yeah, and it all looks a little bit alike after a while, even though I think mechanically speaking, Sekiro is like the best, because that whole like double life system that they have is ingenious, because you can stealth kill a guy to get his first life down, but then you still have to fight him. So you're not just stealth killing this really cool boss, but at the same time stealthing him does give you a huge advantage. And it's like that's like so smart, and the rest of the mechanics are on that level too. It's all deserving of its own conversation. But
yeah.
I just didn't like that's what I love about Bloodborne and Dark Souls, is the world is so interesting. And it's like, man, around each corner is something new and weird and unexpected. And there are a few moments like that in Sekiro, but
not enough to be.
It's what you've had. It's feudal Japan mythology, and you kind of know to expect that.
I think there needs to be a lot more, I don't know, like AI, like mechanics, I guess, like you said, like having to kill things twice, like that's cool. And like, why aren't there more like enemies that do things like that the main character can do? Like why aren't there more enemies that like use potions or like dodge or like roll dodge? Like I feel like I've never seen like an enemy roll dodge, you know?
You and I need to sit down and play these FromSoft games, because they do have that.
Or like blocking, like playing Skyrim, like blocking is a big mechanic, but like they don't, like enemies don't even block that often.
Yeah, but there's a lot of that in the Souls games.
Yeah, like he bought Dark Souls 1 for me, like for my birthday, like
when it first came out, 2011.
Yeah, and it was hard, and I like gave up after getting past the tutorial, basically.
Yeah,
and then like fast forward like 2 years later, and then he's now addicted to it.
Yeah, and they are hard games. They're very hard games, but once you learn to speak the language, so to speak, you feel compelled to get through it, because it's just like, I know this. It's not unfair. I know it. I know how everything works. So, yeah, I just love those games, difficult or not.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Monster Hunter World. And I love Monster Hunter. Like, way back when I got the first Monster Hunter game, and it was so confusing, and I had no idea what to do, but I love monsters, so I had to get it. So, but I couldn't get past the first bit. And then in college, I met my friend Tommy, who was already way into Monster Hunter, and then, like, me and my friends, we all started playing together. So, for the social aspect, I have to rank Monster Hunter high, and Monster Hunter World is just the refined version of all the games. It's so good. I love the world. I love all the monster designs and how it's just you up against this massive thing. You really get a feel for a creature when you have to fight it to death, I think. As ironic as that is.
I mean, yeah, it's many hunters would be able to say the same, I think.
Yeah, not much more I can say about it. It is an inspiration for me. I think it's the biggest inspiration for that novel I'm writing. But yeah, that one's mostly for the social experience, and we all have that one. Even if it's a shitty game, if you played it with friends, you remember it fondly.
Yes.
Luckily, Monster Hunter is not a shitty game. It's one of the best that came out that year, even just like objectively speaking.
Yeah, I played it a little bit with my friend, and yeah, it was fun. It kept me entertained for a while. I think I almost beat it, actually, now that I think about it.
Wow, really?
I mean, I
didn't hear that.
Like, I beat the giant moving lava monster.
Oh, that's
maybe that's just like halfway through.
Yeah, that's you beat low rank. Then there's high rank.
Well, yeah, I got like a little. I went like a little bit into high rank, and like that's where I cluttered out.
I'd love to play that with you. We could stream that sometime.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
It's a great game. A little bit repetitive and grindy for most people, but if you're not trying to build everything like I am, that you can get through it in a pretty reasonable amount of time. It's a fun ride.
Yeah.
Number 3 is Pokemon Sapphire. That's where it all started. That was the first like licensed video game, not like Tetris or Snake, that I got. There was a GBA, and I got the guidebook first because I just wanted to look through it. And then my mom,
is so tattered.
It's the like most worn thing I own.
Yeah.
In terms of like books, because I've just poured over it so much that it's coming apart at the seams.
Yeah.
And it recently
then we had to get like an additional one for Emerald version, which I would personally place above Ruby.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talk about like the Game of the Year versions, and Emerald and like Platinum are all kind of that. Just like, why didn't you have all this extra content in the first one?
I mean,
I stand by that, but at the same time, they are the superior versions.
Yeah, like I agree. It's like just put it in the first one, but I mean, like just the post game in Emerald is like my favorite of any one. Like the Battle
Frontier.
The
Battle Frontier. Yeah,
like there were like 7 like different like event things that you could do just in the Battle Frontier, and then you could like do a bunch of other things and like re-challenge gyms and stuff.
And the great part is Sword and Shield. It's the DLC.
Yeah,
which it always should have been.
It should have been, yeah. I think
that's a great idea.
Downloading it onto like a Game Boy would be impossible, but yeah.
Because it's not worth buying another copy of the game and beating it all over again. Monster Hunter did the same thing. They would always have like Monster Hunter 4 and then Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate. Mostly, like Japan would get both of them, and we get one version. But still, I never wanted to like buy the game again, start all over.
Yeah.
And but now for Monster Hunter World, it was just DLC. It was Iceborne, and it doubled the size of the game, but without having to start over.
Yeah, DLC is a much better way to do it, because like there's always that kind of I guess, I mean it's similar. There's always kind of a like slight urge to like want to wait for like the Game of the Year edition. It's like, why would I buy like the base game when I can just like know that they're gonna come out with like a bunch of DLC and I can just buy it then?
Yeah, but then you miss out when everyone's already playing
it. If it's a multiplayer, then yes, yeah. Definitely.
But even if you don't want to avoid spoilers about an actual game, though.
Yeah, true. Like, I forgot what it was, but there was something that I like. There was one game that I recently like explicitly did that with. I was just like, I don't even really like want to play it right now, so I'll wait. Well, I want to play it eventually, so I'll just wait for like the
Cyberpunk. Wait till everything's patched.
Yeah, that's not what I was thinking of, but that's a good example.
All right, and number.
Yeah, I had Ruby at the same time as Sapphire.
Yeah, we all up until probably Black and White, we both got like each version, so it worked out perfectly.
Yeah, we split it, and yeah, we have both sunk days upon days of our lives into those games.
I recently picked them up again, literally all of them. Been playing them like kind of rotating between them.
Oh my god!
Again, because I'm a psychopath.
Yes.
But I still love Sapphire, man. Still the best, probably due to nostalgia. But I really feel like that's where just like it's because it's colorful and the art style is better than the older ones. And it's more simplistic than when things got more 3D. So it always feels like the best one.
I think it is the best. I like the visuals of like Platinum and Pearl. Like I think that was the right balance of like 3D-ness, I guess.
I think it would be the Modern Warfare 3 of Pokemon.
Yeah, I would agree.
Would be Diamond and Pearl.
Yeah.
Because it does feel more refined, but it just doesn't have the same place in my heart.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's still a great version.
Yeah. What about number 2?
Number 2...
You already mentioned it, but...
Yeah, and then it's Bloodborne and Fallout 3.
Bloodborne is number 1.
Bloodborne's number 1. But, it could depend on my mood.
Yeah.
Maybe I'd be more into Fallout 3 one day and then Bloodborne the next.
I mean, I don't have any Bloodborne or Dark Souls games on my list, my imaginary list that's in my mind at the moment. But I would put Fallout New Vegas above.
That's what some people say, that's the superior game.
Yeah.
But it's a completely different game. It's not an Emerald.
Yeah, exactly. It's a little... it's sort of similar to like what you were saying with like Modern Warfare. It's like a little bit more, but maybe not quite as charming as Fallout 3. Like I certainly have like memories of playing like Fallout 3 as a kid.
Yeah, me too. Like scary memories though. Like you'll be lost in the subways and a ghoul will sneak up behind you. Or you'll be in an abandoned hospital and a centaur will come through the door.
What's that one building that's out in the middle of nowhere?
Tenpenny Tower?
No, that's cool too, but there's like a haunted like factory that you go inside and like find like a dark history, and it's very like Lovecraftian.
I don't know.
Yeah, I forget, but yeah, there's like some haunted like office building, and it's like perfect. It's like still standing, and everything else around it's like destroyed.
Yeah, and I feel
Super
like
creepy.
Even though Fallout 4 is more colorful and probably has more content, there's less character in the world.
There's less character, and I don't know. It's a little too sandboxy, I guess. Like instead of like Fallout New Vegas, which felt like a like complete jungle gym, like Fallout 4 is just a sandbox. There's no like sandcastle toy buckets provided to you.
There's no workshops.
Sand. Yeah.
It's all a constructed experience, and that's really what's better is like other than like a randomly generated world where after a little while it's going to be the same thing, but with something like Fallout 3 you're constantly finding something that was like built to be an experience, built to be part of the story, built to be like a new discovery by people.
Yeah, and that's what I really liked about like Fallout New Vegas is that like I mean Fallout 3 is like very downtown, and you can like see different parts of the city and like get into them when some of them are like locked out, which is cool. But New Vegas you can like see like outposts in the distance and whatnot. Like you can see that giant steel statue at the Mojave outpost, and like I don't know, just being able to see it from the distance, like out in the wasteland, I felt like was a better fit for the rest of the feeling that the genre or franchise gave you. Yeah. And also like just the best, like I haven't even played all of them yet. I think I've only played one of them, but like the Fallout New Vegas DLCs are just like each one of them is like its own game basically, like on a whole new map. It's not like Fallout 4 where it's just like, okay, like we're gonna add some robots for you to control, like, and that's a DLC. Yeah. And it was fun, granted. I did play that, whatever it was called, but it's not a whole new experience.
Mm-hmm.
New enemies and characters and whatnot.
I don't want to go too much longer, but do you want to like rattle off maybe what your top 10 are just off the top of your head?
I think I've kind of mentioned it.
You mentioned Minecraft, Modern Warfare 3,
Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Star Wars Battlefront. We were talking about Fallout New Vegas. Would you put that on your list next to Fallout 3, or does Fallout New Vegas like cover The
I
Fallouts?
would say it covers it for me.
All right. What about Metro Exodus? You liked that one in the
I
past.
liked Metro Exodus, but honestly, I think I would put Metro Last Light above it. Because as fun as Exodus was, I was really expecting more open world, and it was more open world than the previous ones, but it wasn't as open world as Fallout. I thought it was going to be like a Fallout killer, which is kind of like on me for expecting that, because really what it turned out to be was just a good sequel of
Expectations are dangerous.
Yeah, and it was more open world, like I said, than the previous one. But like, I think Metro Last Light was like one of my favorite like single player games. I mean, just like the best like post-apocalyptic environment that I've ever been in.
Was Metro?
Oh yeah, I fucking loved it, and like the stealth. I mean, it's not even really a stealth game per se, but like the stealth in it is just so fun. Like the most fun I've had like in stealth. It's not just like nerve-wracking and annoying. Like you can actually like play through it and like get mostly stealth kills, and then like right towards the end you get seen, and then you just go out and kill them off, and it's like, well, you've cleared the room now, and it's okay. You haven't like, you know, broken the level because you shot a gun. I mean, you just do it like as a way to be able to kill more people without dying. So yeah, Metro Last Light. I don't know if that's in my top 10, but it's definitely up there. God of War, similar single player experience.
Not God of War 1, God of War, the new one.
The new God of War, yeah. And I think another one which I guess maybe I'm not surprised you haven't mentioned it or have it on your list, but it's certainly big for me, is Katamari.
I knew you were going to say that. Yeah, Katamari would be like 11 or something, I think.
Yeah, I think probably
na 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 na.
Yeah.
So that one didn't leave much of an impression on us.
Yeah, no, not at all. I can't sing.
A very forgettable game.
I can't sing the entire thing, like entire thing.
Yeah, I don't remember each level in sequence.
Yes. That's amazing. Katamari Damacy, of course, is the original. I think I'd probably prefer We Love Katamari, which is the sequel to that one. Just because I think the variety of the levels was better.
Yeah, yeah, they had some interesting ideas in We Love Katamari.
Yeah, like there was one where like your ball was on fire. You had to keep it on fire by like collecting flammable stuff. There was one where you can like
children.
Water. Yeah, most children are flammable. If you keep them hot long enough. And yeah, I just thought that was cool. Like the first one, Damacy, like had cool levels like that, but it was mostly just like get big or like collect the biggest bear, which I hated those
that one's
levels.
annoying. Yeah, if you picked up a bear, the level would end even though it was tiny.
Yeah, it's like you could pick up a teddy bear or like a traffic cone that has like a cow pattern on it, and it was count as a cow on cow level. It's like, why do this to me?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like just like one of the most unique and interesting game mechanics of like all time, I think. And like, yeah, I've put plenty of hours into that. Talk about a game that just makes me feel some kind of way. Like, very, very cool. Big part of my childhood. Yeah, I can't really think of any more games right now, but
it's probably time we were wrapping up anyway. I didn't think we'd make it to an hour and a half, but you can tell we like video games because we won't shut up about them.
Yeah, it certainly gets us talking.
But if you're listening, thank you so much.
Thank you for listening this long.
Yes, thank you for sticking with us. We'd love to hear from you guys.
Yeah, your own list.
I hope you come back. There's my phone for you saying goodbye. But yeah, dogs are restless, and we gotta go.
Yep.
All right.
Check out wideworldcomics.com.
Oh yes, you're promoting it more than I am. I
gotta do the final plug, man.
He's looking to be on